all have to at least be in the same guild. So, oh, it's hilarious when you see the death animation in that start screen. It's just like, it's fun stuff. It's fun stuff.
It is nice. I do love this new battle pass. I haven't had the pleasure of searching through all of it yet because I only bought it like, what was it, a couple hours ago, just before we started. And there's the early bounty put on the Spectre. This battle pass is really nice though. Like, it's a bit early to say, you know, if it was one of the better ones, but it is looking really good.
Yeah, I think it's shaping up to be that. Like, treachery cycling does feel like it gives you a bit more in a very convoluted manner, mind you. Like, gold for the side shop into that mini game they have. It does feel like a little bit more, I guess. A good D ward from RNG, taking out that forward obs ward from Longinus in that Dari jungle. Just means it's going to be a bit harder for Longinus to kind of keep track of Super's positioning. And we saw Super in game 1, really annoying on his support. Looks to get that done again in game 2.
That is an adorable courier. The Monkey King is currently cosplaying, and they're going to run into the Pango. Piao is he's just going to dish out a bit of harassment. He'll take some back, and ultimately will give up that top bounty rune. That will mean a 3-for-1 trade on bounties, so RNG again are going to have a slight net worth advantage going into this game. I mean, going back to that D ward as well that you just spoke about, it is going to make life a little bit hard for this this Enigma and Pango, right? Because as an Enigma especially, you tend to need vision to know where the support is, otherwise you just get harassed out so easily. You can already see Super, he's just going to let him know, like, hey, I'm going to be here, and this is going to happen a lot.
Yeah, it's, again, one of the biggest issues they had in their offlane last time was Super, and he is setting himself up here to have that exact same time. Like, you're just feeding the monkey these summons.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect the summons to go down that quick, right? They're about a timeout. He just got them on the tail end of them expiring, so great little play there from Super and Monet, and that gives him a little bit of a gold boost. I think it was about 40 gold he got out of that. And it's just like, how do you contest this monkey? Because this is all that's going to happen.
Oh, man.
Piao gets caught out by the Fortune's End, and Monet's already got first blood.
Oh, yeah, that's not nice.
Bot
All
lane
across the map
Flywind
as well.
Yeah, Dota goes down as well on the Lich. Flywind's probably just upset he didn't get the first blood.
Man, Longinus have to shape up these lanes. Like, at least the Spectre's not the one being harassed out. That's kind of looking at the silver lining here for Longinus, but it is most certainly feeling like these side lanes do have some issues that need correcting.
For sure. Like, it is still very early on in the game, but if this keeps up, like, you know the Spectre's going to get nothing. For now, he's having an okay time. 9-0. Definitely going better than last game, but we'll see how it all keeps up. Gonna need more than just that laning stage to really be that big Spectre we're looking for. Of course, that mid lane as well, Setsu, he's going to be up against the Ember, SSYYDS, and, well, it's the same hero for this man on the Ember. But he is going to have a bit of a better time, because I think the Breathe Fire is really, really hard for the Ember to deal with, but with Setsu on the Void Spirit, like, you know nothing's going to happen up until that level 6 or 7 mark for Setsu, so you can farm relatively safely if you're the Ember.
Yeah, it's a bit of a much more even lane as well. So it's basically just really a farm lane, and, you know, you pop on Flame Guard, and...
yeah, Salve's up. He's still in trouble. He should go down here and does. A nice pickup there, and it was actually a dive in from RNG that caused that to happen. And now, Spectral Dagger committed. With the Frost Blast, they're going to make the chase on September. And this should be a kill, though. He can delay things out with the Snowball that he does have available. He's just going to waste time, though. This is a lot of time the Spectre is not farming. Spectral Dagger, but Snowball. Going to allow him to just get away, and yeah, that's a lot of wasted time. Not killing off September, and you could make the argument September's also wasting time, but he's a POS 4. He doesn't care.
Yeah, it's not as pertinent for September to get that done, and, you know, it's a much better time. The Spectre's not last hitting, misses out on pretty much a wave. It's something Flywind can maximize now, and Longinus has to be careful for how much they commit towards something like that. Still going to be happy with that earlier kill, of course, but you'll just keep your Spectre in lane, just farm. That's the name of the game with this hero.
Well, Super gonna start disrupting this Enigma a bit. One of the keys, right, up against an Enigma, you just tend to want to just make sure... There's that bounty. Just want to be as disruptive as possible. Don't let him farm the jungle like this. He'll have to try and maybe secure some farm in the Dire jungle instead. That is going to allow Piao at least to have that solo XP, but even then, like, Monet is just chasing him down. Just forcing him back, not allowing him to actually get any CS. And he's borderline just having to use Swashbuckle every time. In fact, now they see the Enigma, Fortune's End is there, there is going to be a Maleficent, and that will slow things down for Monet, but he really wants to keep chasing, but he could not get the Boundless Strike off, and now Piao may have to be a little bit careful about how far he wants to stretch this. Monet almost got the Jingu Mastery off on the Pango, and, well, we're at it again. Piao just can't get anywhere near this monkey.
Yeah, there's one really nice thing from Longinus, though. They spot out that sneaky ward. Although, or your RT. Yeah, nice,
Super.
gone.
Yeah, he just kills him off.
Bounty. They got the bounty for it.
They got the bounty.
Oh, boy. It's not the best of times for that offlane Enigma. He's saving up for the early Necronomicon, as we tend to see a lot of these heroes go for. It does help the push. It does help you farm as well. The stats are nice. It's that I would like to see what comes after. It's really what comes after. Are you going to go for the Dominator, go all in on push? Are you going to start prioritizing maybe a mech for sustain? You're most certainly not going for a fast blink. We never see that from Enigmas now, so what comes after is much more interesting for me.
It actually wouldn't bother me too much had he gone for the fast blink this game, because I think it's going to be super important to really get those big black holes, especially with the Venge in the game. But, like, you never do see it. Like, it's very unlikely we'd see something like a Blink Dagger coming out from an Enigma these days, and it's a bit of a shame. I miss those days. It was simpler times, John. You just got a Blink on Enigma, and then you just ran around the map trying to find a huge black hole, and, you know, you ended up losing the game most of the time. Bot lane, there is going to be a snowball on Dodo. They're just trying to juke out here, and Flywind should go down regardless, but they want Dodo first, and they do get him. But the Spectre got Flywind first on the Venge, so ultimately, if you're this Spectre, you're still very, very happy. You're securing farm, you're securing kills, and right now, RNG aren't able to slow him down.
Yeah, they have laid back a bit in the pressure to the Spec. I don't believe there's too much you can really expect from a Venge beyond just a raw right-click damage, especially when you go for the Vengeance Aura build. So you're just really looking to trade right clicks, have a bit of a better time farming, which is fair, but you're not stopping that Spec.
Well, top lane, Piao ends up going down on the Pango. Well, the Enigma, he's still trying to get that Necro 1 book. It's just been a very, very hard time for him. He's almost there. Yeah, it's one of those things with the Enigma as well, right? Like, gold distribution can be a little bit difficult to manage. So he does have to secure a lot of farm in the jungle, and that is farm you're going to be taking away from heroes like the Ember that do want to just secure some quick farm and start making rotations. Bot lane, they do end up getting Dodo on the Lich, and now maybe just trying to go after the Spectre. In fact, Super will rotate in on the Oracle, and now a swap in, and this looks really, really bad for the Spec at least, as they do use those Purifying Flames, and there's another one from Super, and that'll be enough to claim the kill.
Yeah, it's something they needed to get done for a while. That does mean Super's down here, but honestly, there's nothing happening top for him. Like, it's just Piao. Monet's at level 7. There's no point having that Oracle up there. You're really not going to be hunting down the Enigmas, the Oracle, anyway. So, just dragging it down here to apply the pressure on the Spec is much more worthwhile. And Longinus has to be careful now. You have to babysit the Spectre. It's something you know when you draft in here. You do have level 6, you do have Haunt, and you actually see that Spectre go top instead.
I mean, I don't really blame him for this. It's not like it gets any easier, though, up against Monet, but Monet actually TP's down bot. So they are going to just set up for a push attempt. And it's not very often you get to see a Spectre joining in for that early tier 1 tower push. It's very unusual, in fact. It's usually you just haunt in if a fight starts. But he just doesn't feel confident. Mid lane, Fortune's End going to be there on SS, but he'll be fine. He did just juke it out with the Sleight of Fist. And eventually, the side of Longinus, they do secure that top tier 1, so that's good news. It's a nice little bit of gold influx. Though bot lane, same thing's happening. They do find the tier 1, however, Monet getting low, gets swapped into Power, who was actually just rolling around, and now Flywin may actually end up dying as well. Oh, that is rough. But a great rotation there from Longinus. In fact, they may even find the Void Spirit who's rotated in. He does get Dodo, and now SS is in trouble. He will chains up and just run away. In fact, just kiting Setsu. They will bring the Spectre in to try and go after Super, who doesn't have that level 6 yet, so he can't really do much to stop this kill from happening, and eventually they do get the kill. Now Setsu, still running in very confidently. He'll have the Tusk snowballing in as well. They'll find Power, but again, a great chains. Shards won't really lock anyone in. But Setsu has another Astral Step in 1 second, but he is just so slow. That'll be enough. Longinus, I'd say that was a pretty decent win for them.
Yeah, they did trade 2 to 3. And they do find the upper hand there, especially with finding Monet. So overall, a bit of a win for them, but you know, you would want a bit more. You want your Spectre to keep farming up, and this is when you can start making those moves.
Flywin's surrounded mid lane, but they actually don't make the jump in because they spot out Setsu and the Void Spirit, who goes straight in on the Enigma. And there was a black hole available, but he just did not have a chance to actually throw it out. The burst damage from Setsu was just way too high. Well, the RNG, they're still going to maintain that 2k net worth lead.
Yeah, it has been a consistent kind of lead for RNG. As long as it's within 2k though, I don't think it's too bad for Longinus. This does mean your Spectre is still somewhat keeping up. You take a look at that Spectre right now, it's just about 100 gold behind Flywin. And overall, the farm distribution from RNG is pretty even. So it's not too bad. Your Spectre's still finding that gold. You just need to buy time. So much more time. We haven't seen the black hole from Moriarty. This is going to be really important. He needs to force a lane in with that spell.
Rolling Thunder committed top lane, but they're not able to kill off Super. It was just the Pango himself. I believe, yeah, they didn't even get the False Promise expended out, so not too bad for RNG. And, well, that mid push not going to lead to anything. They may try again with those Eidolons now, but they're expiring pretty soon as well, so maybe time to make some more Eidolons. Still has the black hole if he wants to try and commit. There is going to be a loop around, though, with the smoke from RNG going straight behind that mid-tier 1 of the Radiant. They'll spot out Dodo. They have the Centaur there with the Helm of the Dominator from the Venge, and they do secure a very easy kill onto Dodo. In fact, Fortune's End now going to fly out with the Shards blocking him in, and they just have perma-stuns. In fact, it's not enough. The stick charges from SS was enough to allow him to remnant out of there. But this is going to open up that mid-tier 1 now for the side of RNG to push in.
Yeah, and it's they should be able to get some decent chip damage here. Not going to be the best. Like, it's most certainly not like tossing a wave of Eidolons out, but they are getting a lot more done on the mid compared to what Longinus has done. So if they can secure this objective...
They're finding the tier 1. Like, they're not... It doesn't look like they're actually going to back off. The Frost Shield is there. That might be enough. So they look like they want to keep fighting. Like, Setsu's at a nice power spike now. So he definitely wants to try and go again. Fortune's End to fly out. We'll latch him in with the Aetherium now as well. They will use the Chain Frost, and it's doing quite a bit of damage over September. It looks like he will eventually go down, and now the Rolling Thunder will also be committed with the Frost Shield, just going after Flywin. He does have 2 swap charges available if he wants to use them, but right now he'll just try to make a run for it. Setsu going to come back in with a great pulse, although there's the black hole being committed. Still, False Promise going to save Flywin for now. They'll just keep going, RNG. No plans on backing off. The swap from Flywin actually makes it so the Aetherium does not latch, but it doesn't matter. They find the kill anyway, and essentially the black hole just did nothing.
Yeah, it's not quite a lot of damage at this point in the game. The control was nice. There just wasn't any follow-up from Longinus, and it does cost them in the end. I mean, they even find Piao on the tail end of that. Now, all of these movements are buying space for the spec. So you are pretty much undisturbed in that farm. It's just you are bleeding a lot of gold here to RNG. 4k advantage now for the Dire side. 7 to 14 at 13.5 minutes in. You're starting to see some really early pickups from Monet as well. He's going straight to the BKB after this Echo Saber. So they just really want that aggression. They don't want to stop fighting.
I don't think you can, right? You've got a Spectre on the other side. There's no real reason to go for some kind of heavy build on Monet. Just keep going, and they'll spot out the Spectre in a very, very deep position. This isn't exactly the spot you'd expect him to be farming in, and he doesn't have Spectral Dagger either, so he can't really juke this out. Monet just pops the Wukong's command and just traps him in.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of debts you can't afford to give out to at Longinus. This reminds me of Game 1 with the Slark. He was just so far out that you wonder, how safe do you really expect to be there?
Monet just going to keep going for more now. Snowball going to lock in that Enigma. Of course, no Black Hole, so he won't even have a chance anyway. Super just had enough damage with the Purifying Flames on the Oracle. And they are really starting to take over this map, RNG. It's our first series of the day, but if this keeps up, it is going to be a very, very quick series. Hopefully not for the sake of Longinus, but they've just got to try and slow this pace down. It's just going way too quick for their draft. Monet now going to jump on into Piao. He does just juke away with the Swashbuckler, but a great boundless strike from Monet, and now just forcing out the Rolling Thunder. But
no.
It's just so much damage from Monet. He doesn't even get a chance to roll away. He did commit the Rolling Thunder all the way as well. The animation finished. He just couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it is slowly starting to kind of chip away here for Longinus. They aren't seeing the biggest item pickups fast enough. Although they are buying time for their big cores, you are seeing RNG build up a bit too fast. Like, Monet switches out for the Desolator instead, so his damage output will shoot up. They might make a move on Setsu. That might be a kill.
It'd be a nice kill if they could get it. They'll use the gaze. Setsu will just Astral Step out of there and do the exact same. He had a Yules anyway if he got in real, real deep. And on top of all that, John, he has a regen rune. Yeah, he had a regen rune just bottled up. That's buying his team a lot of space to just go for a Roshan attempt very, very early. And although you have Haunt and you could scout this out, you'd never really expect it to happen this early with this kind of draft from RNG. But it will.
Yeah, this is going to be super hard for Longinus to fight into. Double life on Monet is just not something they're set up to. They can burst him once, but that requires throwing out nearly every single spell they have anyway. So burning him down twice is pretty much out of the question. And Piao? Ooh.
Oh, you can't do anything here. Like, he's just got to hide. There's no way he makes a jump on Monet, but mid lane they do find the Ember with the Yules. Now Snowball, just so many stuns coming out. I mean, once you get the Yules off, the bounty has been secured for Setsu. Well done, Setsu. Once you get the Yules off, all the follow-up stuns they have, it's just too much. Like, you kind of say to yourself, you might need something like an early BKB on this Ember, but that's not something the Ember wants to build. Super will get caught out, but the False Promise will save him. Now the Enigma's dead. Chain Frost going to be there, bouncing through the neutral creeps. Super should die throughout all this damage, and does do so. Now Flywind needs to be careful, as the Spectre can hit very, very hard. I say that, he's only got about 100 damage right now. That Desolate does do quite a bit, but now the Snowball from September with the tag team and the Walrus Punch is probably going to be enough damage to just burst him down. He just went way too far in, and the rest of the team just wasn't with him.
This kind of staggered movement in from Longinus is costing them. Like, you would have been much better off just farming the spec. You really don't need to join in. You finish the Manta, then maybe you could talk. Even then, I don't reckon that's going to be enough. You're going to be looking at the Diffusal, and then on top of that, probably a very fast BKB or Heart, before you can truly become a menace. But RNG now, with that lead, straight into a tier 2, and they might find another kill.
Mid lane, it's just the Yule set up again, straight onto that Ember. He is still alive though. You could go for a big black hole here, and he does find 2 of them, but Flywind will die straight off the bat, and now they might even find September. He does get a Warrior's Punch off, but he does go down. But look at that Wukong's command from Monet, just doing so much damage, and Setsu just ripping him apart. And RNG, I mean, you lost your supports, but you're losing so much more on Longinus. In fact, There is going to be a Fortune's End flying out on PR, but they won't make the chase after the Pango. They've already found enough in that last team fight. And that was one of your best case scenarios. A decent two-man black hole just led to nothing.
Yeah, that was a lot of patience coming out. That was probably the best counterfight you could hope for from Longinus. Not quite enough. Super's positioning was really important there. Like, he got the root off at the tail end after to trap them in that Wukong's command. That's what enabled Monet to find those kills. And Longinus just doesn't have the best response yet. They need to build up a lot more in the spec. With a black hole gone, their defense is going to be that much weaker. So I don't think they can afford to fight outside at all. Even the high ground is going to be a bit harder than you'd want. You'd have to wait for that next black hole before forcing anything out.
Monet. This could be a huge pick-off. A great chains into the Rolling Thunder and the Chain Frost. Monet, he has stuck around too long. And the Snowball wasn't there in time from September to delay this out, so he will also go down. Now, those are big pick-offs. If Longinus can do that a couple more times, just keep buying the Spectre space, this game could quickly turn.
Yeah, that's pick-offs like that they need to punish. They need to catch RNG.
Just uses both his astral steps in the mid lane for really no reason apart from the creep wave. I guess it does stop the T1 push though, so there's that.
Yeah, and he's slowly but surely hitting that point where he does get his Ags. So he's just about 500 gold away. It becomes so much harder to stop that Void Spirit when the Ags is up. Like, you don't have any BKBs on the side of Longinus just yet, so that silence is always going to be at play when you're caught out.
RNG. Now, there'll be a Fortune's End to fly out on the Spectre. Will lead to nothing though. I say that, but they are starting to loop around again. So Monet goes for a Boundless Strike, another Fortune's End just to lock him in place, but they're just going to set on the Lich instead as the Spectre was proving to be a little bit too tanky to deal with quickly. Another Fortune's End might be enough to make this jump in, and yeah, with the Snowball and the Wukong's command, they do at least get him out of that Wukong's command, and Piao, well, he came straight into him, and that means he's going to die, and now the Spectre can't survive either. It's a triple kill from Monet as they're going to find the Ember, make it an ultra kill. Where's the Rampage? Where is he? He's across the map right now. They can't secure the Rampage, but it's fine. An ultra kill is almost just as good.
And RNG again, just keeping up that momentum. They know without those big teamfight spells for Longinus, there's a huge opportunity for them to just clump up. So they go straight down mid. They're going to get the shove in. There is the black hole in Moriarty if he wants to TP back, but he has to wait for his allies to respawn first.
It's just so much pressure on this Enigma to make those big black hole plays, and again, you don't have mobility yet. He is trying to go after a BKB prior to his Blink Dagger, and it's just not going to allow him to close the gap fast enough before they react anyway. They find that mid-Rax at the 22-minute mark, and it's back down, perhaps to the bot lane, where, of course, they do still have the top and bot tier 2 towers to deal with. But as the game goes on, they've got full map control, they've locked down the side of Longinus, basically to their own triangle. And the game just continues to get tougher and tougher for this Radiant side.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot harder to find that safe farm outside now, and you're still waiting for those key items. Oh,
yeah, it's going to be a swap in from the Enigma, and with the Snowball and the Fortune's End, that is going to be an easy kill. He could try and turn around for it, but his team is already backed off. And yeah, Monet's just getting stronger. Like, he's got Deso BKB now in the Monkey King. It's not easy to deal with that.
No, and he's saving up for the Ags as well in the Monkey King. So once that's up, it just becomes so much harder to stand next to this Monkey King. They're gonna have to play the high ground. You know, once this siege on the bot starts, your top is still protected by that tier 2. So again, it's a bit slower for RNG in that case, but Longinus needs to find a solution here. They need to be able to find the biggest team fight, and it's really just not that easy at all. Oh no.
Chains. going to come out, but how do you stop this tier 3 push? Like, Chain Frost is going to be there very early on. Monet, he just pops a BKB straight onto the Lich with the Wukong's command. They'll haunt into the backlines, trying to take down some supports. Super is still just kiting them out, and he has the False Promise available, and now it's just an absolute cluster as they jump in, but they just get shredded. There'll be buybacks flying out, but this could be the last-ditch team fight.
Oh.
A decent black hole, but it's going to be cancelled by Setsu. And that means the Enigma probably going to die. In fact, there might be a dieback on the Pango if they're not careful. As Aether does latch on. And, well, Piao, he's jumped in. He just wants to secure a kill. They may just call GG. That is going to be a dieback now. And Monet even found the Spectre across the map. And there's the GG call. This time 24 minutes. So they lasted an extra 2 minutes at least. Which is, you know, it's better than... It's the first series, John. They just made it from the closed qualifiers. They had to verse RNG. It's a hard matchup.